212 without a gym, without a band room. And then whenever we were able to try to bring the cost down some, then we determined we could go ahead and include both of those. And that's contingent on us being able to get it done for the amount that we think that we can. Of course, if we can get it done for $140 a square foot, which I was really encouraged because Michael told me that Southall just completed their new high school, I guess just within the last few months.
Right.
That cost $130 a square foot. And so that's very encouraging that they were able to do that, and tells me that we're in line with what we need to be able to do. Some of the costs, when you looked at that before, if you looked at their complete package with the different groups,
That whole booklet?
yeah, some of them were talking about doing like, adding on to the middle school, and adding on to Northwood, and adding in, some of the high school.
That does pretty big.
Yeah, so there was, some of those were like a lot of different costs, because they're trying to address the entire project, because we looked at the Carter and Associates, their projections for enrollment, and they were trying to address the needs in a couple of different ways, and the cost, if they remodel, then we need to add on to Northwood and to middle school and those type of things, so that drove the cost up for the remodel versus the high school, which actually I think on most of them they were pretty close, if I remember right.
Mr. Pritchard, there's a request for you to use the microphone.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, I'll quit after you.
Okay.
For 14 million, you're implying that we could do it all.
Yes, now,
High school.
yes, the high school, not the additions to anything else. Yeah, no, the high school inclusive of a band room and a gym, okay?
Cafeteria too?
Cafeteria too, yeah. But we're trying to be really functional with it by using, as you come into the school, the lobby of the gym also serves as cafeteria. And so, we're trying to have as maximum use of the square footage, because, we aren't a wealthy school district and we don't have money just to throw away like some of these. I was talking to an individual, actually was our financial advisor today, and he was talking about Union, and I think he said Putnam City, that they have the ability to bond $20 million a year with not revenue bonds, just GO bonds. Wow, how nice would that be?
What-
Yeah.
You mentioned the school a minute ago. And
Yes.
what-
Is this working?
No. Would you let me see that for just a minute, Ms. Williams?
I thought it was just put it out there.
It's on.
It's for the.
Okay, all right. Yes, sir.
What, you mentioned the school earlier, and that they've been able to build.
Salisal, right.
Salisal, and they
Yep.
built it for how much?
$130 a square foot. They just completed it just recently. I don't know if they completed it at the beginning of the school year, or they just now finished
Right
it.
after Christmas, they finished.
Right after Christmas, they just finished it. Okay, so that would be,
Where is that?
It's got a masonry facade.
yeah, okay.
What's the difference between the, because I know on the design it shows the grayed out areas for extensions.
Mhm.
So if it's not a phased-in area, you have so much accomplishing.
Right.
Those extensions serve what purpose is that?
Well, that's as we see growth.
As
Yeah.
we see growth.
Right, right. Because we don't, I received a call from one of the local superintendents in the area today, and he said, "You better make sure you build that big enough to take in some of these smaller schools later." And I said, "What?" He said, "They're squeezing us, they're squeezing us." And I said, "Okay." Not that that's something we would want to do, because I think they do a really nice job educating students. But if something were to happen where they did squeeze some of the local smaller schools, well, then we'd need to be in position to be able to handle that. So this is designed to where we could expand on the wings if necessary.
Where did, you had mentioned something about the
Mhm.
agriplex. Is there a particular part of the property where you envision that, or is it just a roof right now?
You talking about like, well, that's one thing that Derek came to me was talking about how she would like to cut down on the square footage of her classroom and swap it off for a shop that was separate. That'd be something we'd have to talk about and determine, if a bond issue
Where's the
passes.
current facility?
Yes, yeah, she said, I'd prefer to have, a smaller classroom, more like 1,300 square feet, and
And a
then,
greenhouse.
yeah, greenhouse and stuff somewhere else, so, yeah. So that would be something we'd have to address, yeah.
I gave my Cinderella story. I'm just curious what kind of discussion came in around last year as far as the new makeup of the district and as far as the ag, which wasn't a part 5 years ago when they considered the site for that high school. Those two things weren't part of the district. So what are some of the discussions they've had the last couple of years to incorporate the new GOAG and the expanded district?
Well, we've been through, kind of run the gamut as far as a lot of different things. We talked about, at one point, we talked about maybe using Pleasant Grove property for our agriculture education. Don't say VOAG now.
No.
But she wasn't interested in that. Of course, at the time, we didn't have an agriculture education teacher, but she felt like it'd be too far, and in retrospect, it wouldn't be a good situation to have a teacher that far away from the campus. And so that kind of went by the wayside. And then after woodshop, we lost our woodshop teacher. We then decided that we have a space there on the current campus where we could do that. It's not a great space. It's a lot of square footage, but it's not a place where many people want to teach. But still, it's there, And so we were able to go ahead and get the program started. And then, from there, we've looked at trying to put it with wherever we built the new high school, whether it would have been at the Armory property when we were looking at that, or wherever it might be.
Mr. Pritchard?
Yes.
At our last PTO meeting, we kind of talked a little bit about another site. Can you kind of lead us through what decisions were made and how you ended up on Harvey Road?
Yeah, actually this started way back in 2007. We just passed the bond issue to build BLS, and after we passed the bond issue to BLS, well then the board felt like it was really important, as did I, that we kind of develop a long-range plan, because it's really important that to me, when you pass one bond issue, well then you look at, okay, what are the next needs? And so I went through the process of going through all of our sites and looking at how much square footage we had and the age of each of the facilities and that type of thing, and presenting that to the board. And after I presented that to the board, they decided that we really needed to look at going ahead and building a new high school and see what the interest was in the community. And so Mike Van Lanningham was tasked with kind of going out into the community and having a meeting. He called together a lot of different people in the community it was a Jasmine Rand Children's Museum, and they had a lot of the community leaders come and told them kind of what we had discovered and asked them their thoughts on building a new high school. And it was unanimous that we proceed with that. And at the time, it was they were pretty adamant that we have a site that was north on 99. And then really we started the process of looking for land that was kind of in a high-profile area. All the different sites that we looked at all over the place. We looked at some that was across south of Highway 9, across from the Haney Center, just west of there. It was cost prohibitive, plus there were a lot of oil wells on that property that made it a little bit tough because they were active oil wells. We looked at some property north on 90.